Chapter 11 General Level. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Devour the World. The 15th Spiritual Stone. Absorb. Along with Jiang Li's thoughts, the spirit stone in his hand turned to stone at a speed visible to the naked eye, and finally turned into an ordinary stone. The next second, waves of majestic power surged out from his limbs and bones. Every cell in his body seemed to be going crazy at this moment, frantically absorbing this majestic power. In just a moment of exhaling and inhaling, the realm has been broken through again. Name, Jiang Li. Realm, warrior level, elementary, points, 3250. It takes 2 days to absorb a spiritual stone, which is slower than I thought. Jiang Li shook his head. It took him a whole month to absorb 15 spiritual stones, and his realm had reached the warrior level. Of course, the most noteworthy thing is the improvement of mental power. His sea of consciousness was more than twice as strong as before. It's a pity that the soul cultivation method is only a simple spiritual cultivation method. We have to create something more profound. However, my current soul strength has surpassed many spiritual masters, that when she got excited, the furniture she just bought at home was ruined again, and Ling Ling was also woken up by the noise. Husband, you won't have another breakthrough, right? Ling Ling's sleepy eyes stared blankly at the mess on the ground, and she asked in surprise. I realized something, but I was temporarily distracted and couldn't control my power. At this time, Jiang Li vaguely felt that Ling Ling's strength was not as simple as that of an ordinary warrior. Of course, Jiang Li's mental strength has not yet reached the point where he can know the opponent's strength at a glance. Moreover, Ling Ling didn't reveal it to him, and he didn't ask. Soon, the day of the actual combat assessment was coming, and besides practicing, Jiang Li spent most of his time with Ling Ling. Honey, you have time to tidy things up at home. Jiang Li blinked his eyes and said confidently, when I come back, we will move to Mingyue community. The next day, after Jiang Li went to the Extreme Guild Hall, they were led by a warrior, including Luo Feng, Bai Yang and more than 30 would-be warriors. Hello to all quasi-warriors and future warriors, I'm from the HR Alliance. After everyone boarded the train, the big screen in the carriage was broadcasting live. I believe you have heard of the HR Alliance. We are the most powerful group and the richest group in the world. You are welcome to join. Brother Jiang, madman, do you know this HR Alliance? Bai Yang, Luo Feng and Jiang Li are all from Ian District, and the 3 of them were assigned to the same row. I know. Luo Feng responded with a smile, and Jiang Li nodded slightly. The core of the HR Alliance is composed of 9 major families. These families have senior monks at the level of high-level gods of war, and their family wealth is extremely rich. They constitute a superpower on Earth second only to the Extreme Martial Arts School, the Thunder and Lightning Martial Arts School, and the 5 major countries. In order to attract new blood, new warriors are recruited every year. The HR League's GG, which attracted people, played for 15 minutes, after this one ends, switch to the next force. Brother Zhang, which party do you think is better to join? I think the HR Alliance is good. Money is of no use. To become a martial artist, you must go to the strongest martial arts gym. The Thunder and Lightning Martial Arts School is also good. Their benefits are better than those of the Extreme Martial Arts School. What's the use of just thinking about it? Think about it after becoming a warrior. The prospective warriors who participated in the actual combat assessment were discussing excitedly. Brother Jiang, you don't know that Madman has joined the Extreme Martial Arts Gym, right? Lu Fei asked in a low voice. When I pass the actual combat assessment, I will also join the Extreme Martial Arts Gym. Brother Jiang, what about you? Do you have any plans? The martial arts school is the most free, with few restrictions. In Hanxia, the military is the strongest, but it also has many rules. The HR Alliance involves many countries, especially the Europa region, which has the greatest power. Lu Fei explained patiently. Let's consider it after passing the assessment. Jiang Li smiled calmly and noticed that Luo Feng looked at him in surprise, but did not ask. He knew in his heart that Luo Feng should have awakened the spiritual master and discovered his abnormality. Ba Shu 69 knew. At this time, the train announcement rang. Fellow would-be warriors, the train is about to enter the station, please be ready to get off. As the train entered the station, a large number of would-be warriors walked from the station to the large military camp. At a glance, there were at least 1,000 people. The military camp occupies a very large area, and a large number of heavy thermal weapons are built on the outside. Each muzzle is pointed at the outside. It is a vast wilderness, and the roars of monsters are heard from time to time. Hold head high. Following a sharp cry, the would-be warriors looked up almost simultaneously and saw a dozen terrifying birds flying across the blue sky in an instant. That speed far exceeds that of a warrior. The book says that after leaving the base city, monsters can be seen everywhere. Luo Feng's eyes lit up, showing his excitement of eagerness to try. It's really true. This is what the world really is like. Wherever Jiang Li looked, there were dozens of ferocious-looking monsters eating the corpses of other monsters. The scene was bloody and terrifying. The weak and the strong are everywhere. Everyone. At this time, a loud voice came into the ears of every would-be warrior. Welcome to Jiangnan City North Military District. This time, 1,386 of you will participate in the actual combat assessment of warriors. I hope you can all pass the test, and I hope all of you can pass this actual battle alive. Standing at the front desk of the square were senior officials from the Northern Military Region, as well as some senior officials from Extreme Martial Arts School and Thunderbolt Martial Arts School. Just as the words of the strong man from the military region fell, a figure flashed in the sky like thunder, shooting towards the Northern Military Region from the very far sky. How dare that man fly in a wilderness area? God of War. He must be a strong god of war. What a terrifying speed, expand the sky in the blink of an eye. This actual combat assessment can actually attract the god of war. Is there any genius among our group? Have you heard? There is an 18-year-old genius boy over there in Yangzhou, who seems to have been recruited by the Extreme Martial Arts Gym in advance. I've also heard that this 18-year-old warrior might be a god of war in the future. In the square, the arrival of the god of war caused all the would-be warriors to talk about it. The news that Luo Feng was recruited into the Extreme Martial Arts Gym ahead of schedule quickly spread among the circle of would-be martial artists. This was also the case in previous years. Some talented warriors were recruited by the two major martial arts schools before taking the actual combat assessment. Everyone knew that these people would have a bright future. This year, there are only 3 people. Madman, who do you think this god of war is here for? Lu Fei was full of curiosity and stretched his neck to look at the platform. Could it be you? Hear the words. Luo Feng turned to look at Jiang Li. It should be brother Jiang, right? Jiang Li's expression remained indifferent and he smiled slightly. Maybe I happened to be passing by. Luo Feng. But while the 3 of them were chatting, Wu Tong's shout came from the distance. Uncle Wu. Chief Instructor. Luo Feng joined the Extreme Martial Arts Gym ahead of schedule and had an indispensable relationship with Wu Tong, and his nickname became cordial. Jiang Li, you are here just in time. Wu Tong said repeatedly, leaving Lu Fei with a helpless look on his face. You two come with me, the supervisor wants to see you. Director. Hearing this title, the surrounding would-be warriors looked shocked. There are only 3 people in the entire Jiangnan city who can be called supervisors by the chief instructor of the guild. I know Luo Feng, he is a talented warrior that the Extreme Martial Arts Hall recruited in advance. The other one looks a little older than Luo Feng, Jiang Li. Never heard of it. Probably the descendant of a certain big shot. Lu Fei, you are also from Ian District. Is there anything special about Jiang Li? Some would-be warriors knew Lu Fei and came over to ask curiously. Hear the words. Lu Fei raised his eyebrows and said to Yurong, you ask me what's so special about brother Jiang? Does it count to destroy the punching strength test machine with 1 punch? Chapter 12 Recruiting 2 Major Martial Arts Schools. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 1 punch is a waste of punch strength testing machine. Hearing Lu Fei's words, all the would-be warriors present were dumbfounded, fearing that he already had warrior-level power. A warrior-level person comes to the quasi-martial arts assessment. Seeing Lu Fei's triumphant expression, everyone couldn't help but feel a sense of absurdity. And this time, Jiang Li and Luo Feng followed Wu Tong to the second floor of a quiet small building. In the living room on the second floor, several people gathered together, and the god of war who had just broken through the air was among them. Director, Luo Feng was the first to recognize one of them. It was Zhuge Tao who had recruited him to the Extreme Martial Arts Hall in advance and was also one of the 3 managers of the Jiangnan Guild Hall. Well, Luo Feng, where are you and Wu Tong sitting? Zhuge Tao, who was wearing a dark combat uniform, said calmly. When he glanced at Jiang Li, his expression suddenly changed. Are you Jiang Li? You are making rapid progress. He knew that Jiang Li was at the warrior level a month ago, but now he seemed to be a high-level warrior and had reached the threshold of the general level. 20-year-old warrior-level warriors are already rare in the world. Jiang Li, let me introduce myself first. At this time, the strong god of war sitting next to Zhuge Tao suddenly said, My name is Lei Meng, one of the inspectors of the Thunder and Lightning Martial Arts School. As soon as these words came out, the other 2 young men who were following the director of the Thunder and Lightning Martial Arts Hall suddenly stood up and saluted Lei Meng quickly. I have seen the inspector. The god of war is very powerful and has a high status, but the god of war only represents the strength of the warrior. The inspector must first of all be the god of war, and more importantly, the high-level executive of the martial arts school. He has a lot of support from the god of war behind him, and his power position is far beyond what a god of war can match. Could it be that the inspector came here specifically for Jiang Li? This moment, this idea came to everyone present. Hello. Jiang Li bowed his hands and said, neither humble nor arrogant, Inspector Lei. Zhuge, you should be able to see his strength. Since he took the assessment in your extreme club, I won't bully the small ones, but you will do it first. Lei Meng smiled and nodded to Jiang Li, turned to Zhuge Tao and said. Others sounded puzzled by these words, even Wu Tong was a little confused, but Jiang Li knew clearly that they should have seen that his strength had reached the junior warrior level, but they just didn't know if they had pried into his soul. Then thank Inspector Lei first. Zhuge Tao's eyes fell on Jiang Li and said solemnly, Jiang Li, are you willing to join my extreme martial arts gym now? Wu Tong should have told you the conditions before. However, you and Luo Feng are both rare talents. You can choose any movement technique, guidance technique, or secret book on the original basis, and I will pay for them all within a limit of 100 million. 100 million. Hearing this unit, the other 2 young people who had been recruited into the Thunder Martial Arts Hall in advance couldn't help but take a breath. Brother Jiang. Luo Feng shouted in a low voice, seeming to hope that Jiang Li could join the extreme martial arts gym. Zhuge, is that all? Without waiting for Jiang Li to answer, Lei Meng chuckled and said, then I won't be polite. Zhuge Tao. Jiang Li, join the Thunder and Lightning Martial Arts School, and I'll pay for the movement skills, guidance skills, and secret books within 1 billion. Lei Meng was arrogant and made an irresistible offer. In addition, if you encounter problems in practice, you can ask me for advice at any time, and I can promise you that the master will give you guidance at least 3 times every year. What? Everyone felt as if they were struck by lightning and were horrified on the spot. Even Zhuge Tao was shocked and stared at Lei Meng with eyes as wide as copper bells. Any billions or tens of billions are all imaginary. What shocked them the most was the museum owner's instructions. Guidance from the world's second best thunder god. This condition is a bit too much. Inspector Lei, please don't talk nonsense. Although Zhuge Tao was shocked, he never believed that the superior master of the museum would personally instruct a general-level warrior. He is also a senior general, and it is difficult for him to even meet Hong, let alone give him advice. Jiang Li, if I can promise you, I won't break my promise. Lei Meng ignored Zhuge Tao. He would not dare to say this to other geniuses, but if that person existed, this is a done deal. Sorry, Inspector Lei. Under the expectant eyes of everyone, Jiang Li smiled calmly and said, I promised Ling Ling that I would join the ultimate martial arts gym. What? Zhuge Tao and others were stunned. Lei Meng was not annoyed at being rejected. Instead, he smiled and said, it's a good thing to listen to your wife. Okay, this is my contact information. If you encounter trouble that cannot be solved, you can contact me at any time. With that said, Lei Meng gave Jiang Li a set of numbers. Lei Meng's operation immediately stunned everyone present. Who is this Jiang Li? Not to mention the condition of rejecting the temptation of the Thunder and Lightning Martial Arts School, he, the inspector of Lei Meng Dangtang, still showed his kindness again and again. Your surname is not Lei. He can't be your Lei Meng's cousin, right? After Jiang Li stored the number, he nodded slightly to Lei Meng. They both knew Ling Ling's identity tacitly, and Jiang Li knew in his heart that his strength was improving rapidly, and it would be a matter of time before he met the God of Thunder. As for giving guidance, not to mention the relationship between his wife and the God of Thunder, at this speed of cultivation, there is not much time left for the God of Thunder to give him guidance. Inspector Lei, I'm sorry. Zhuge Tao smiled awkwardly. Of course he knew that it was not his own conditions that attracted Jiang Li. Wu Tong, go and draw up a contract. According to the rules of the martial arts school, Jiang Li can choose any movement or guidance technique. Cheats, the price is within 500 million, I will pay for it. 5 billion. Compared with the conditions Zhuge Tao just opened, it has increased by 2.5 times. Jiang Li thanked Director Zhuge and thanked Inspector Lei. Jiang Li readily accepted their kindness. Little money. Zhuge Tao raised his head and smiled, glanced at Lei Meng and said, Inspector Lei and I are very optimistic about you, so don't worry about this little money. The same goes for you, Luo Feng. When you reach the general level, there will be more resources. Warlord level. The supervisor means. Luo Feng was startled and looked at Jiang Li. Brother Jiang, are you already at the warrior level? What? Wu Tong and the others in the Thunder and Lightning Martial Arts Hall were also dumbfounded and looked at Jiang Li in disbelief. What's going on? A warrior level warrior comes to the warrior assessment. Playing with snakes. Especially Wu Tong, his mind was a bit lost. How long has it been since the quasi-martial artist assessment? Is Jiang Li already at the general level? However, on second thought, without such rapid progress, how could the dignified inspection envoy come to recruit in person? Oh, by the way, Brother Wang, don't your newly recruited young people want to compare points with the newcomers from our extreme martial arts hall? The Brother Wang mentioned by Zhuge Tao is the director of the Thunder and Lightning Martial Arts School. The expressions of the three people who heard this suddenly froze. Ha ha ha. Seeing the stiff expressions of the three people in the Thunder and Lightning Martial Arts School, Zhuge Tao laughed freely, not caring about Lei Meng's intentions at all. In fact, to the outside world, the two martial arts schools seem to be in a competitive relationship. In fact, the relationship between the top management is not bad. Little guys, work hard. Gone. Lei Meng didn't mind. His body swayed and suddenly turned into an afterimage and flew away from the balcony on the second floor. Later, Wu Tong handed over the contract drawn up by someone and handed it to Jiang Li and said, Jiang Li, just sign this, and this. Jiang Li took over the contract. The conditions were very clear without any complicated terminology, and he signed it immediately. Jiang Li, welcome to join the extreme martial arts family. Zhuge Tao extended his hand to Jiang Li with a smile on his face. After the actual combat assessment is over, your warrior authority will be opened. At that time, you can purchase the items you need through the internal network of the martial arts school, and the startup funds will also be provided to you. On the warrior's account. Good. Jiang Li also stretched out his hand to shake hands with Zhuge Tao. Chapter 13 Monster Town. Jiang Li is a spiritualist. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Brother Wang, let's go. After signing the contract, Zhuge Tao was very tactful and did not ask Jiang Li any questions. If the inspector was involved, it might not be someone he could consult. The burly brother looked at the two young men beside him, and left with Zhuge Tao after giving instructions. At this time, Wu Tong let out a long breath. Just now, when Inspector Lei was here, I couldn't breathe smoothly. Jiang Li, you were a high-level warrior before the assessment, right? Almost. Counting the power of the incomplete version of Canhai's sword, Jiang Li did have the strength of a high-level warrior before. Soon, the sun began to set, the military district broadcast a gathering, and many prospective warriors had already chosen their weapons for the assessment. Luo Feng also went to receive a sword and a shield. After joining Lu Fei, they came to the outskirts of a small town under the leadership of the soldiers. Roar! Hiss! Various heart-pounding screams came from the town. When everyone looked up, they saw that the entire town was blocked by barbed wire, and a large number of soldiers were patrolling around with weapons in hand. Luo Feng, Lu Fei. The weakest monsters in the town are equivalent to the primary warrior level. Their weaknesses are low intelligence, and their strengths are bloodthirsty madness, aggressiveness, and murderousness. They almost never stop fighting to the death. When they arrived at the outskirts of the town, Wu Tong said solemnly, "The actual combat assessment of warriors is mainly to temper their character. You must adapt to the life-and-death battle with monsters. Remember not to be merciful." As for Jiang Li, Wu Tong looked at Jiang Li, who had a calm face, and didn't know what to say. He smiled helplessly and said, "Jiang Li, just kill less and leave more opportunities for other prospective warriors." Jiang Li, Luo Feng, Lu Fei. Soon, the three understood what Wu Tong meant in his conversation. Everyone. The loud voice reached the ears of every would-be warrior, and everyone saw an officer standing on the roof of a dilapidated third floor in the town. This actual combat assessment is the same as before, starting from 6:30 tonight to 6:30 tomorrow morning. The more monsters you kill, the more points you get. For each monster you kill, cut off its left ear as proof. Remember, the assessment prohibits would-be warriors from killing each other. All your activities are under surveillance. Violators will be shot directly. Among the 1,368 would-be warriors, those with the top 60% of points will obtain the qualification of warriors. The bottom 40% will fail and have to wait for the next actual combat assessment. That the voice of the officer gradually became colder and colder. In other words, among the 1,368 would-be warriors, at least 500 will be eliminated. Why do you say at least? Because those who have not killed a single monster will also be eliminated. Hearing this elimination rate, many would-be warriors couldn't help but whispered. I'll remind you that if you kill 3 monsters, you can pass the test. If you only kill 2, it depends on luck. When the record is the same, the ranking will be determined based on other factors such as the hunting time and injury. Therefore, when you kill a certain number of monsters, it is recommended that you leave the town as soon as possible. The voice of the officer echoed in the ears of every would-be warrior. Remember, if you are injured and can't hold on, you can press your communication watch to ask for help, and someone will rescue you immediately, but from that moment on, your warrior practical test is over. After that, the officer jumped and reached the outside of the town in a few steps. He waved his hand and said, "All would-be warriors, set off and enter the monster town." The next moment, all the would-be warriors rushed into the monster town like surging waves. As soon as they entered the town, many would-be warriors began to disperse. Brother Jiang, madman. Both of them came from Ian district. Seeing that Jiang Li and Luo Feng were highly valued by the top leaders, Lu Fei was also very proud. "I will go to the east alone." Okay. Luo Feng also understood that this was just an assessment. Once he became a warrior, he would have to face monsters alone sooner or later. The danger he encountered would be more than 10 or 100 times greater. When Lu Fei left cautiously to the east, Luo Feng also chose to move forward alone. "Brother Jiang, I will go ahead too. See you outside the town after dawn." "Yeah." Jiang Li nodded and saw Luo Feng also quickly flew to the west and disappeared from Jiang Li's sight. Soon, night fell. The edge of the entire closed town was illuminated by only large searchlights, and many places in the town fell into darkness. It's a good time to test my mental power. Jiang Li did not look for a hiding place and wait for the opportunity like other prospective warriors. He walked lightly on the dilapidated streets of the town. His mental power began to spread with his intention. extending to nearly 200 square meters before becoming thin, but all the movements within these 200 square meters could not escape his perception. So that's it, that this range just fits the size of his sea of consciousness. 1, 2, 5, after Jiang Li's mental power covered it, he suddenly found that there were 5 monsters hiding in the collapsed ruins. With Jiang Li's warlord-level eyesight, he quickly saw that they were 5 canine monsters gnawing at the corpse. To be precise, they were tiger mastiffs. Ordinary dogs are only about 2 meters long at most. And each of these tiger mastiffs is 3 meters away, even larger than the Siberian tiger, especially the big mouth, which is long and pointed, resembling a crocodile's mouth. The exposed fangs reflect a bloodthirsty cold light under the searchlight, which makes people feel heart palpitated. This would-be warrior is so unlucky that he encountered a group of tiger mastiffs. You're still wandering around the streets at night, you're just asking for death. You didn't run away. You still dare to go. Is he confident that he can deal with 5 tiger mastiffs at the same time? In the monitoring room, the officers and soldiers responsible for monitoring the entire town also discovered abnormalities in the streets. 5 heads, that's enough. Jiang Li looked at the 5 tiger mastiff dogs. Instead of leaving, he walked straight over, completely exposed to the tiger mastiff dog's sight range. Ouch! The tiger mastiff discovered Jiang Li and immediately let out an excited roar. Compared to the rotting corpse, the human in front of him was undoubtedly a delicacy. With roars, 5 tiger mastiff dogs attacked almost at the same time. The speed is already beyond that of ordinary warriors. At first glance, it looks like a speeding car has hit him. Bang! That when the first tiger mastiff came to kill him, a sharp rock 4 to 5 meters in front of Jiang Li suddenly rose from the ground and hit the tiger mastiff's lower abdomen. It suddenly burst open its belly, spraying blood and internal organs. Come out, then. Jiang Li turned slightly to avoid being attacked by the second tiger mastiff. At the same time, his right fist turned into an afterimage and hit the tiger mastiff's head directly. Even if a junior warrior doesn't use any attack skills, a single punch can exceed 30 tons of power. With one punch, the entire tiger mastiff's head was like a smashed watermelon, exploding with a bang, and the brains, blood, and even the extremely hard fangs were shattered into pieces. The ears are gone. Jiang Li felt a little helpless. Almost in the same breath, he put his fingers together, and while lifting them slightly, 3 gravels suddenly shot up and turned into 3 streams of fire in the dark night. They were too fast and caused by friction with the air resistance. Of high fever, puff. 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 The 3 streams of fire shot into the pupils of the other 3 tiger mastiffs exactly, passed through the body, and then shot out from the tail. In an instant, the 5 tiger mastiff dogs killed them all. Psychologists are still more shady. No wonder Xiao Li's flying knives are so popular all over the world. Jiang Li looked at the corpses and pieces of flesh lying on the ground, but his mood was not disturbed. It stands to reason that when you see blood for the first time, you will feel a little nervous. Being strong is one thing, but having a strong mentality is another. Many talented warriors were unable to demonstrate even 1/10 of their strength when participating in actual combat for the first time. Jiang Li was the only one who could act as if nothing had happened. Soon, Jiang Li collected 4 left ears and threw them into the prepared backpack, and started to return to the exit of the town. Other side, in a large building, a large number of surveillance screens showed the situation in various areas of the town. The camera on one side paused for 10 seconds without switching. What's going on in control room 18? An officer who was sitting drinking with a burly man frowned and asked coldly, "What are you doing?" "Huh? Is it him?" The burly man who had not been paying attention to the surveillance heard the sound, glanced at it, and immediately said, "Switch the screen back quickly." When the officer heard this, he ordered the people below to put the picture back. The more he looked at it, the more surprised he became. This is Psychic Master. Chapter 16 Magnetic Blade, Power of Domain. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Early the next morning, the Extreme Martial Arts Gym delivered the secret books purchased by Jiang Li. "Honey, you don't have to ask me to eat tonight, I'm going to study new secrets." After receiving the secret book, Jiang Li couldn't wait to go to the martial arts training hall on the third floor, and heard Ling Ling snort, "Honey, should I close the door when I go to bed tonight?" "Don't." Jiang Li staggered, and even the mighty warrior-level warrior almost lost his balance. "Don't worry, my wife, your husband is extremely talented and will finish his research soon. Promise to go back to your room and sleep." "Well, I'll wait for you." Guest room. Jiang Li looked at the two secret books placed in front of him and thought for a while. Destroy the World is a spear technique, which contains the law of light, and the 9 layers thunder sword is a sword technique. What weapon should I choose? Forget it, let's analyze these two secret books first. Jiang Li thought and immediately entered a state of enlightenment. As his mental power grew, he felt that his understanding was much further away than before, at least it was running very smoothly. You understand the first level of destruction of the world, understand the essence of marksmanship, and analyze the laws of light in it, and you gain precipitation. You have comprehended the first level of the 9 layers of thunder sword, understood the essence of the sword technique, and part of the thunder system laws. You seem to have an inspiration. You combine the essence of marksmanship, the law of light, the law of thunder, and a burst of inspiration to create the magnetic explosion streamer knife /. Chapter 17 Fire Hammer Squad. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Are you really a lion? 100 million. Zhang Zihu's eyes almost popped out. For a high-level warrior like him who has been in the wilderness all year round, it would take at least 1 or 2 years to do this. Luo Feng. Director Li of the Leiden Guildhall frowned and said, "Your price is too high." Lao Li, "The price is not high." Wu Tong, the director of the Extreme Guild Hall, said with a specious smile, "Don't forget, during Luo Feng's actual combat assessment, our inspection envoy Lei Meng, god of war, also came in person." After hearing the words, Inspector Envoy Lei Meng War God, Director Li's face suddenly darkened and he looked at Zhang Zihu. The news that Lei Meng went for the actual combat assessment has long been spread, but few people really know the truth. It happened that Director Li was one of them who knew about it. From the corner of his eye, he glanced at Jiang Li who was sitting next to Wu Tong and took a slight breath. "Luo Feng, you give me a price, 20 million. Just accept it and let it go. It will also give me some face." Zhang Zihu stared at Luo Feng and said his bottom line, "Otherwise, you won't give me Zhang Zihu face, 20 million. The people at the Extreme Guild Hall also frowned. Just because there were 5 warrior-level experts coming forward today, they shouldn't be offering such a low price. If you have less money, you won't give everyone face. Otherwise, I won't give you face." Luo Feng sneered. "Zhang Zihu, let me say one thing, 100 million, not a penny less. If you miss a penny, you should prepare to go to the security bureau to meet your nephew. 100 million, but not a penny less." Zhang Zihu laughed angrily. He seemed to have never expected that Luo Feng, a newcomer, would dare to deny him the respect of a mountain tiger. "That's nonsense, I'd rather donate this money to the country." Zhang Zihu's eyes flashed fiercely, as if he wanted to eat Luo Feng alive. "Okay, Kaishenhu." At this time, the director of the Leiden Guild Hall tried to smooth things over. "Luo Feng, each of you takes a step back. How about 80 million Hanxia coins?" "Brotherly." "I." Zhang Zihu's veins bulged, and he didn't want to give him 80 million. "If you don't give me this face, you have to give it to Inspector Lei." Before Zhang Zihu could say the unpleasant words, Director Li raised his hand to stop him. "Luo Feng, what about you? Just do what Director Li wants." Under the signal from Wu Tong's eyes, Luo Feng nodded in agreement. In the entire conference room, a group of people's eyes fell on Zhang Zihu. Although Zhang Zihu was furious, he still opened the communication system and directly transferred an account of 80 million to Luo Feng. "The money has arrived." Before Zhang Zihu left, he glared at Luo Feng fiercely. "Brothers, let's go." Seeing the people from the Thunder and Lightning Martial Arts School leaving, the group from the Extreme Martial Arts School in the conference room started to make a fuss. 80 million, Zhang Zihu's work has been in vain for a year. I didn't expect him to give it to me in the end. Luo Feng was also very surprised. He turned to Jiang Li and said gratefully, Brother Jiang, thank you very much. Thank me for what? Jiang Li smiled, I didn't do anything. On the other side, Zhang Zihu, who had just left Mingyue community, couldn't help but get angry and dented the back door of the Hummer with a punch. Brother Li. Why do you want me to bow to this little brat? Zhang Zihu's eyes widened, filled with hatred, just because Wu Tong pulled out the banner of Inspector Lei. Yes, Director Li. Another bald man in the same group was also dissatisfied. I remember Manager Wang mentioned in the video conference that the people in Jiangnan who cannot be provoked are warriors named Jiang, not Luo. He's there too. Director Li shook his head, sit next to Wu Tong. It's better that such a big man doesn't speak. Open your mouth, Kaishenhu, do you think 80 million can solve it? Point 1 Listen, Zhang Zihu and others were stunned for a moment. They couldn't help but think that the only people who could give orders to their supervisor were at least the children of the Hanxia Kingdom's big family, regardless of the fact that a few of them are famous in Yangzhou warrior circles. They are all warriors, not to mention the inspectors, gods of war, etc. Even if an ordinary family wants them to disappear from the world, it is not impossible. Who knows what will happen outside the wilderness area? Jiang Li. After solving Luo Feng's matter, Wu Tong was a little surprised. Are you also planning to go to the wilderness area? It just so happened that Director Zhuge asked me to arrange for Luo Feng to join the warrior level team for training. Fire Hammer team, are you interested in joining us? Okay, it would be good to have someone to take care of him in the wilderness area. Moreover, Jiang Li's goal was relatively simple, just earn enough money for the first 4 levels of world destruction. Jiang Li, I am the vice captain of Fire Hammer team. Chen Gu, who was beside Luo Feng, laughed and said, from now on, you and Luo Feng can follow me. But you have to say this ugly thing first. Our Fire Hammer team will give you a chance to practice, but if you can't adapt, Brother Chen will also I can only kick you out. The warrior team is fighting on the edge of life and death. If the team is too weak and becomes a liability, it will directly affect the team's safety. Brother Chen, Luo Feng helped, Brother Jiang is much stronger than me. It's still early, just in time to test it out. Chen Gu raised his head and smiled and said, I will be able to plan a route to the wilderness area then. I think it's okay. Luo Feng should also make considerable progress. Wu Tong smiled and took them to the 7th floor, pointing to the weapon room next to him and said, the club is different from the martial arts hall. Most warriors have their own weapons. That is the weapon room. Although the materials of various weapons are different, the structure and weight are the same. You can also practice here in the future. Entering the weapon room, there are a large number of weapons on the shelves. Luo Feng pulled out a simulated A5 blood shadow war knife with ease and waved it casually. Can you swing an A5 blood shadow war knife? Chen Gu looked at Luo Feng in shock. The net weight of this model of war knife is close to half a ton. It seems that your physical fitness has reached the advanced warrior level. Luo Feng's fist force exceeded 5,000 kilograms in the previous few times, but the simulated blood shadow war knife in the club is up to A5 level. Wu Tong said happily, after becoming the chief instructor of the club, his martial arts hall contribution value can basically only be raised by recommending talented warriors. This is why Wu Tong is particularly concerned about Luo Feng and Jiang Li. Luo Feng, show me your strongest punch. Chen Gu's eyes sparkled. Wu Tong recommended Luo Feng to come here because he wanted to do a favor for his old friend. Even if Luo Feng is a genius, he has just entered the warrior level, but he never thought that in such a short time, Luo Feng would actually reach the advanced warrior level. If he breaks through further, he will be the backbone of the team. You know, the general level team actually only has 1 or 2 generals. Okay, Brother Chen. Luo Feng walked to the punching force tester in the clubhouse, and he did not mean to hide his physical fitness. After all, his biggest trump card is mental power. After adjusting his breathing, Luo Feng's body burst out with great power, and his punch was as powerful as a dragon going out to sea. Boom! With this punch, the enlarged punching force tester trembled. Ding! How much? Wu Tong and Chen Gu stared at the display screen at the same time. 7215 kg. 7.2 tons, that Wu Tong and Qinggu both took a breath of cold air, staring at Luo Feng as if he were looking at a monster, with shock on their faces. Luo Feng was also surprised when he saw the number. His punching power had increased so much. Before this, his punch was only a little more than 5,000 kilograms. Even if he practiced the guiding technique, it would not be possible to improve so much. Could it be that dark golden ball? Chapter 18 Newcomers join the group. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Luo Feng, although you are not as good as Jiang Li now, your progress is so fast. I believe you will catch up soon. That Wu Tong's heart felt so happy that he couldn't help but fist palm each other, and laughed loudly. Jiang Li, I heard that after you moved to Minghua community, you spent the whole day shopping with Mrs. Yu shopping for groceries. It's right to love your wife, but you are a warrior, so you can't leave your cultivation behind. Wu Tong, how many years have you not been to the wilderness area? Qinggu couldn't help but sneered at Wu Tong. You still have the nerve to talk about Jiang Li. I am old, where can I still have the passion of young people? Wu Tong didn't mind Qinggu's teasing. Jiang Li, Jiang Yan said before that your power has reached the upper limit of the martial arts school in Ian district. Don't use the attack secrets. That Wu Tong specifically reminded that the boxing strength test machine is the most basic measurement method, and the range of force it can withstand is also very limited. A warrior-level warrior could demolish the 7th floor of his guild hall by using some powerful attack secrets. Good, Jiang Li nodded, he also wanted to try his current strength. Boom, Jiang Li walked up to the boxing strength testing machine, raised his white hand, gently clenched it into a fist, and punched the drum surface of the boxing target. This punch seemed light, but the entire punch strength testing machine moved back 3 or 4 meters, leaving 3 deep marks on the mixed metal ground. Drop. The clear number on the display of the boxing strength testing machine is 166712 kg, 16.6 tons. The 3 people present took a deep breath, and Qinggu jumped up excitedly. If I go, your strength alone is 2 tons more than mine. Of course, at the warrior level, pure strength can no longer represent strength. If you can't keep up with speed, movement skills, combat experience, etc., you will still be easily crushed by the weaker ones. Jiang Li knew this very well. After waiting for a while, Wu Tong said tremblingly, Jiang Li, are you really useless at attacking? That it's not that Wu Tong doesn't want to believe Jiang Li. He really can't believe it. In the Ian district before, the attack method only had more than 10 tons. Even if I touch the junior warrior level a month later, it won't be surprising. After all, how long has it been since Jiang Li awakened? It has only been a week and you have already reached the level of an intermediate general. See you next month. Do I need to call you Lord God of War? Monster, what a monster! Qinggu raised his head and laughed, his face full of excitement. Jiang Li, how about you try using the secret attack method? Don't. Before Jiang Li could answer, Wu Tong was startled and quickly raised his hand and said, my guild hall can't withstand your demolition like this. Seeing Wu Tong's surprised look, everyone laughed. Soon, both of them completed other tests. One was a high-level warrior and the other was an intermediate general. Qinggu almost smiled crookedly. By the way, have you bought all your weapons and equipment? Not yet. I'm going to buy better equipment and weapons. But better weapons and equipment require a 1-star contribution point to get them at half price. Luo Feng glanced at Jiang Li, his expression revealing helplessness. Compared with the startup capital, Jiang Li had 300 million more than him. This is simple. You tell me what weapons and equipment you want to buy, and I will help you buy it. Qinggu chuckled, my contribution point is not far from 2 stars. When the time comes, can't you just transfer the payment to my account? General cold weapons and hot weapons can be purchased by others. Wu Tong, who was standing next to him, explained, Jiang Li, what about you? I bought it. Jiang Li smiled. He didn't want to trouble others, since he was spending other people's money anyway. Back home, Jiang Li smelled the aroma of vegetables. Husband, wash your hands and you can eat. Okay. After Jiang Li finished eating, he suddenly smiled. He picked up Ling Ling from behind and said, "Honey, I'm going to the wilderness area in a few days. Let's hurry up." Ah! Ling Ling screamed. There was a storm in the house again. At this time, the chat group also became lively. Bite. Longbow from the spiritual world joins the chat group. Suddenly, a chat group system prompt sounded. It turned out to be a new member of the group. Spiritual world. It should be Longbow from Shueiwa Cave. In an instant, the chat group became lively again. Peach Blossom Island Little Chef, welcome newcomers. Junzi Sword Zixia Junzi Sword, group status -1. Shaoli Feidao, is the big boss here again? Zombie Taoist Priest, newcomers join the group, consciously take photos, and improve their cultivation. Zixia Junzi Sword, spiritual world. Who knows what kind of existence the spiritual world is? Borrowing method from heaven and earth, Wuji Qiankuan, I have never heard of this kind of world. Does Mr. Jiang Li know about the spiritual world? Jiang Li at borrows the law, the spiritual world, you are a world where martial arts and mythology are combined, but it is more martial arts, because there are some mythological methods in it. Yao Yu, the group leader knows much better. Mythical means, it seems that the newcomer is also a big boss. Peach Blossom Island Little Chef, no matter who comes, in my heart brother Jiang Li is the most powerful. Zixia Junzijian, why don't the newcomers speak? I am Spider-Man, maybe I was scared, I am probably still confused. Zixia Junzijian and I am Spider-Man. You have been lurking for too long. I am Spider-Man, I just became Spider-Man and I haven't adapted to it yet. Besides, the group is all about practicing exercises, which is not suitable for me. Longbow, who are you? Why did you appear in my mind? Spiritual realm world, the place where the Tong family lived in seclusion, the still immature Longbow stared at the surroundings in surprise. Just now, a voice suddenly appeared in his mind asking him to join a chat group, and he subconsciously agreed. The next moment, a virtual screen appeared in front of him, and there was a sound of someone talking in it. What's more magical is that what he thought in his mind just now also magically appeared on the screen. Tian Di Wu Ji Qian Kun Jiafa. I also thought I met a 1,000-year-old monster at that time, and slashed a few times at the air. Little flying dagger at Longbow, newbies don't have to be afraid. This is the Wanjia chat group. We are all from different worlds. Zixia Junzijian at Longbow, this is a great opportunity. In the chat group, you can buy magic skills from different worlds, and you can also upload your magic skills to the chat group to get points. Taohua Island Little Cook, it is recommended that newbies learn about the points mall first. Longbow, I was scared to death. I thought I encountered some monsters. I'll go check it out now. Thank you for your advice. Jiang Li did not speak, but secretly peeked at the screen. This Longbow has the Dragon God skill, and he has the Tong family behind him. His foundation is not comparable to others in the group. If he learns the Dragon God skill and turns into a dragon, can he fight the Golden Horn Beast? Chapter 19, Enemies Meet on a Narrow Road. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Soon, the day agreed to go to the wilderness area came. Diamond suit, diamond suit, diamond suit, diamond suit. Husband, are you leaving today? Ling Ling took a deep breath, her eyes full of reluctance. Jiang Li stroked her hair, gently hugged her into his arms, nodded slightly and said, be good at home. My husband will be back soon. Jiang Li. Brother Jiang. At this time, Chen Gu and Luo Feng shouted from outside, hello, sister-in-law. Ling Ling waved goodbye and watched Jiang Li, Luo Feng, and Chen Gu, all dressed in white combat uniforms, leave quickly. After thinking about it, she went to the extreme martial arts gym again. Jiangnan Base City is one of the 6 base cities in Hanxia Kingdom. In the main urban area, there is a skyscraper with 88 floors. The entire building reflects the very dazzling English letters HR. Most people have never entered this building in their lives. Drop. An electronic voice sounded. The soldiers on guard duty immediately moved out of the way, and a military off-road vehicle with HR also printed on the body drove in. The car door opened, and 4 warriors were seen getting out of the car. They were either carrying guns and swords, or carrying sabers and shields. Jiang Li, Luo Feng, let's go to the bar next to us to wait for the captain and the others. Chen Gu invited the 2 of them to sit on the sofa aside. For gentlemen, what would you like to drink? That the waiter immediately came forward and asked. Long Jing, with a hint of jasmine. Big black leaf. Tiguanyin. You can't drink alcohol when entering the wilderness area. Zhang Ku, another warrior who was traveling with Chen Gu, smiled and said, when the mission is completed, let's have a good meal when we get back. Jiang Li, Luo Feng, this floor is where guests rest, and the second floor is where the mall sells items. Chen Gu knew that it was the first time for the 2 of them to come here. He pointed to the surroundings and explained carefully, the biggest advantage of the HR Alliance Mall is that we can sell the body materials of the monsters we hunt to them. The price of the HR Alliance will be much higher. If it is sold to a martial arts school, the price will be relatively low, but it will have contribution value. It's up to you to choose. The 2 nodded slightly, and this time. Brother Wang, you should go and rest first. Just leave this place to me. A crisp and gentle voice sounded, and Luo Feng, who was holding the teacup, was trembling all over and turned his head to look. Seeing Luo Feng's reaction, Chen Gu and Zhang Ku were stunned. Jiang Li also took a look. It was a girl wearing a white shirt and black suit trousers. She was very pretty. Luo Feng, what's wrong? Zhang Ku asked curiously. No, Vice Captain, Brother Jiang, Brother Zhang, I'll go over first. A flash of panic flashed in Luo Feng's eyes. He put down his backpack, shield, sword, etc., and walked quickly towards the bar. Jiang Li, what's wrong with him? Chen Gu looked curious. Based on the experience of people who have been there. Jiang Li smiled and said, this is the taste of first love. Chen Gu. Zhang Ku. Chen Gu, Zhang Ku. At this time, a loud voice came over, and a very strong man walked over with 2 black sledgehammers on his back. Behind him were 2 men who looked very similar. Jiang Li, this is the captain of our fire hammer team, Double Wind Hammer, Gao Feng. These 2 are brothers from the Wei family, Wei Tai and Wei Qing. Chen Gu introduced with a smile, in the warrior circle here, their double moon scimitar is famous. Captain Gao, 2 brothers Wei. Jiang Li smiled and said hello. I heard from Chen Gu that you and Luo Feng are both geniuses among the new warriors. When you enter the wilderness area and learn more from experience, I believe you will be able to adapt to it soon. Gao Feng grinned, Where is Luo Feng? Zhang Ku chuckled. Jiang Li said he was in love. Brother Zhang. At this time, Luo Feng ran back with a look of embarrassment. What's the matter? Luo Feng, let me introduce it to you. Zhang Ku laughed. After the 7 people became familiar with each other, they got up and set off. Let's go to the wilderness area. Luo Feng. At this time, another voice sounded. It was the girl just now. She seemed to have mustered up great courage. I will start school in a few days, but during college, I will come here to work as a manager on Saturdays and Sundays during the day. You must come over then. When she shouted these words, the girl's face turned red. Jiang Li, your experience is not accurate. I think Luo Feng is not the only one who is excited. Chen Gu on the side patted Jiang Li on the shoulder and laughed. It's good to be young. There are beautiful girls everywhere you go. Captain Gao Feng was also quite emotional. Since we are all in a team, we are comrades in life and death when we go out to the wilderness area, and we can joke around freely. Captain, this has nothing to do with youth, it has to do with being handsome. Zhang Ku laughed strangely, pointed at Jiang Li and said, Jiang Li, I just did some calculations. At least 9 beauties have taken aim at you no less than 3 times. Jiang Li. Gao Feng. Hundreds of miles north of Jiangnan Bay City, there is a military region garrison. One after another, fully armed warriors got off the train, more than 20 people in total, and they naturally divided into 4 teams. Jiang Li, Luo Feng, when we warriors go out to hunt monsters, we will enter the military district station when we replenish supplies on the way. Chen Gu pointed to the high-speed rail tower in front and explained, in the entire Hanxia country, and even in the world, any military district will set aside a special area as a supply base for warriors to rest. And that lighthouse means to illuminate the way home for us warriors. Jiang Li nodded. He thought of some places in his previous life, where there were similar lighthouses to illuminate the way home for soldiers. Fire Hammer Squad, you will live and rest at E3. An officer at the supply base handed Gao Feng a key, smiled and patted his shoulder and said, "Old Gao, if you get any good goods this time, you are welcome to sell them to our underground alliance. I will definitely give you the highest price." The personnel at the supply base are not all soldiers. Many of them are from the 2 major martial arts halls, the Underground Alliance and some large family forces. They not only provide services, but also purchase some precious materials from the warriors. Okay, Gao Feng laughed, hurry up and have someone arrange our dinner. Make it better. Don't let my 2 brothers down. After solving the stomach problem, Chen Gu called Jiang Li and Luo Feng and said, if you want to rest, take a break. We will set off at night. You must be alert by then. Set off at night. Luo Feng was a little surprised. Because the weather is too hot. Jiang Li glanced at the sunset in the wilderness area and explained to Luo Feng, traveling during the day will consume more physical energy. So that's it. Luo Feng suddenly realized and saw a familiar figure appearing at the supply base. Is it Zhang Zihu? Chapter 20, The Existence That Cannot Be Provoked, Jiang Li's Strength. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this time, Zhang Zihu was wearing a bandage, and there was still faint blood stains on the bandage. He was obviously seriously injured and was recuperating at the supply base. Zhang Zihu also noticed Luo Feng and the others, with an angry look on his face. Is it him? Is it Fire Hammer Team? The one-eyed middle-aged man next to Zhang Zihu said, Who's he? The person you are talking about is Luo Feng who cost you 80 million? Luo Feng is nothing. Just a little warrior. Zhang Zihu's eyes fell on Jiang Li. The one in white is the trouble. I heard that he is valued by the god of war-level adults. If it weren't for him, I would have given the 80 million. When he thought that even the director of the guild hall was forcing himself, Zhang Zhe became angry. Forget it, don't think too much, there are some people we cannot afford to offend. The one-eyed middle-aged man patted him on the shoulder. You should recover well. We will set off again in 3 days. We will capture that old guy and we will have all the money. Late afternoon, the heavily armed Fire Hammer team of 7 people left the supply base and officially entered the wilderness area. Ouch! Hold head high. After Jiang Li and others walked along the dilapidated highway for about 5 kilometers, the roars of monsters became more intense, and many monsters could even be seen walking through the abandoned service area. Huh! Luo Feng, there is an F-class sawtooth dog in front of you, I'll leave it to you. After approaching the service area, Captain Gao Feng found a monster in the abandoned house and ordered, this is your first battle in the wilderness area. Luo Feng, don't be careless. Chen Gu solemnly reminded, the spirituality of these monsters is much more powerful than those kept in captivity in the military zone. Luo Feng nodded heavily. Although they are in the same team, among warriors, the fastest way to get recognition from others is to show their strength. Come on. Jiang Li also gave Luo Feng a rare encouragement, then several people watched Luo Feng pass. Captain, are you asking too much to ask Luo Feng to deal with an F-level sawtooth dog in the first battle? After seeing Luo Feng wielding a knife and fighting with the saw-toothed dog, Chen Gu couldn't help but said, after all, this is his first time entering the wilderness area. What happened the first time? You don't want him to be a burden, right? Wei Tai said solemnly, this Luo Feng's physical fitness is not weaker than that of an F-class monster. If he has to suffer a little at most, he should be able to win. Physical fitness is important, but so is practical experience. Wei Qing looked at Jiang Li and said seriously, Chengu said that your physical fitness has reached the standard of an intermediate warrior. Do you dare to challenge a warrior-level monster alone? Are you talking about the wild boar in the east? Jiang Li understood what they meant. After all, this was a battle on the verge of life and death, and no one wanted to be a burden. E-class iron boar. After hearing Jiang Li's words, Gao Feng realized that in the rice fields on the other side of the highway, a giant wild boar covered in black iron armor was charging towards them. Ouch! At this time, the iron boar let out a roar, suddenly accelerated, rolled up a stream of dust and rushed directly towards Jiang Li and the others. Spread out. Gao Feng was startled and said continuously, although this iron-skinned wild boar is an E-level beast general, its iron skin is as strong as gold steel, and ordinary thermal weapons cannot penetrate its skin. Boom! After the iron boar struck, everyone scattered to avoid it, and it crashed directly into the hillside next to the highway, causing half of the mountain to collapse. This time, there is at least a dozen tons of momentum. This is too strong. Jiang Li may not be able to handle it alone. Chengu jumped 7 or 8 meters away, drew out his M81 and prepared to fire. I'll try it first. This was Jiang Li's first time facing this kind of monster. He said it would be absolutely fine, but he couldn't guarantee it. Call out. When? As soon as he finished speaking, Jiang Li jumped up with his knife, turning into a stream of white light in midair. He quickly hit the iron boar's body, which was nearly 2 feet away, and the fire was everywhere. Ho! Roar! After receiving the blow, the iron boar suddenly retreated, kicked its hind hooves, and crashed into Jiang Li like a tank. Jiang Li, be careful! Gao Feng shouted. A monster like this at the level of a beast general is very intelligent. While speaking, everyone saw that Jiang Li's figure was only slightly tilted to one side, perfectly avoiding the collision of the iron boar. This movement. The pupils of the Wei brothers shrank, and Gao Feng, who was about to rush forward to help, also paused. How can he avoid the impact of the iron-skinned wild boar so skillfully? Is this a subtle body technique? Zhang Ku exclaimed. With this skill, Jiang Li is basically invincible. Although the iron-skinned wild boar had thick skin and thick flesh, it was still lacking in speed. Facing extremely low-level movements, it could hardly hit Jiang Li. Yeah, but he seems to be a bit lacking in strength. It's a bit difficult to kill the iron boar. Gao Feng is also a warrior level, and he is also good at strength. He can see at a glance that Jiang Li's attack is fast enough, but the burst of power is insufficient. Captain, I don't think so. Chengu suddenly thought of what Wu Tong mentioned before. Jiang Li should have mastered the secret attack technique. At this time, Jiang Li had already landed on the ground. He looked at the iron-skinned wild boar that was charging towards him again and tightened his grip on the blood shadow saber. Pure power can only damage its skin. If you want to kill it with one hit, you have to increase your attack power several times. Jiang Li's eyes narrowed, the energy and blood all over his body surged at this moment, and there were faint electric arcs flowing in the hand holding the knife. What's that? The other members of the Fire Hammer team were immediately surprised when they saw this scene, but when Jiang Li faced the iron-skinned wild boar that was attacking, he stepped forward suddenly, causing the ground to crack open. At the same time, his surroundings were also shrouded in a terrifying thunder light. On the handle of the knife, several long and curved electric arcs spread out. Is this what it is? Gao Feng has a sharp eye and has seen someone use the same move, 9 layers of thunder knife. World Destruction and 9 Layers of Thunder Sword are the 2 ultimate secret books in the world. There are certainly many people who practice, but there are very few who can practice successfully. Boom! Jiang Li slashed out with his sword, and a terrifying thunderstorm sounded, destroying all the surrounding vegetation. Countless rays of lightning struck out at incredible speeds. Pft! Pft! Jiang Li clearly heard the sound of the iron boar's bones shattering. The next second, a terrifying electric arc struck him, turning him into a roasted suckling pig. It seems that I underestimated the physical defense of the warrior-level monster. Jiang Li had just used almost 80% of the combat power of the magnetic storm blade, which was enough to kill monsters of the same level instantly. This was worse than he expected, however. when others saw this scene, they were amazed. Abnormal. Evildoer. Monster. Gao Feng and the Wei brothers took a breath of cold air. Captain, am I right? Jiang Li has mastered a secret skill. Chen Gu raised his eyebrows and said proudly, I didn't expect it to be a ninefold thunder knife, but its destructive power is a bit terrifying. For other secret skills, they wouldn't be so surprised. Only world destruction and 9 layers of thunder knife are not accessible to everyone, even a strong god of war. This has nothing to do with strength, it's purely about understanding. It has only been 2 weeks since Jiang Li joined the extreme martial arts gym. How quickly did he get started with the 9 layers of thunder knife? Zhang Ke was amazed and said, it's incredible. After hearing this, the expressions of several people changed again. Yes, only those who join a martial arts gym, the military, or the HR alliance will have the opportunity to learn the 2 ultimate secrets, that is to say. It only took Jiang Li 2 weeks to comprehend the 9 layers of thunder knife. It's simply a fantasy.